When I was young, we used to go to Florida every year. My grandmother lived in Florida, and I remember being very tiny in the back of the seat, probably sitting in the center because I have two older brothers. And my mom was searching for the guy on the side of the road with the blanket and the fake Louis Vuitton bags. And I didn't know what that meant. Like, why were we searching for this object? And when I see somebody that has these accessories, I'm like very drawn to them, and also questioning why is this important and what does this mean, and making them out of paper, paint, and glue talks about a facade. I was taught if you look good, then you are good. And so it really talks about this facade that we carry around and these accessories that we have. And one of the first paper pieces I made was a Louis Vuitton saddlebag that I wanted. And I made it, and it kind of fulfilled that thing in me that I was like, oh, I don't need this anymore because I can make it and have it. And for me to make something just out of a piece of paper or draw something on a piece of paper, like even now, after being out of school for 24 years, grad school, like it's magic still for me. It's really about my hand touching these things, inserting myself into them. And so now they've become, there's definitely high-end luxury goods in the mix, but it's also everyday things and objects that I can put together to create another narrative, a narrative maybe that I didn't see growing up, or a queer narrative, and telling a different story with these recognizable objects or books that I remake of famous artists, and slowing people down to look at it more and also maybe question it or fall in love with it or embrace it. If I can stay close to my making, then it tells me what it wants to be. But there was never a time where I wasn't making work at all. When I was younger, my mother dropped me off at the Toledo Art Museum in Ohio, and we'd go into the museum, look at the work, and then come back into the studio and make work. Something opened up in me where I could make something and it could fill me up in this way where no one else could kind of touch that spot in me. I love pencil on paper, and I love watercolor, and I love ink, and I love gouache. And so some pieces have to be like in relationship to the body, and they need to be made and come into the viewer's space. And some of the drawings are more intimate, and the viewer has to get close to it. And there's not a grasp, like the sculptures can have a grasp that you can, I mean, I hope you don't touch it, but people can't help themselves. But like, that you can see it in real life, but then there's this kind of intimate love story about the drawings that they're being viewed from a distance, and you can't fully penetrate and get into it. The wall with the postcards is an orchestra. It's like a bunch of different instruments playing, and it's composing this song that is through my lens and what I'm looking at and what I'm interested in. Like me remaking the books is about me going to the library where I work. I'm an associate professor at San Francisco State, and going to the library, going through the shelves looking for a book, but then finding something else. It's really tactile and like holding this object, and the journey of flipping through something very similar to the journey of my mom driving in the car in Florida, finding that bag, like that excitement of finding something and putting things together. I was, taught a lot of like abstract expressionists, mostly male, pretty much all male. And so it's a way for me to re-educate myself and learn about things that I didn't learn about in school. So, like Alice Neal or like anybody, like I'm just thirsty for representation of female and queer artists. Like when I went to college, I went to Cleveland Institute of Art. My mom really supported that. I think she thought I was going to find a guy and marry a rich guy and he was going to take care of me. But then I went straight through to graduate school, and I came out to California College of the Arts here in San Francisco. And I purely came out to this school because it was the gayest place on earth. During winter break, I went home and I was like, I need to make these shoe boxes in my mom's closet. And at the time, she had 51 shoe boxes, and I just kind of thought, like, who can find 51 shoes that they like? What does that look like in relationship to my body? And so in terms of making a 2D painting of that, it was more important for me to make them and to physically see the scale of them. To put them together, I stapled them on the inside, and they were really kind of raw and rough, and just filled up a space. You know, I was inspired by Georgia O'Keeffe and Martin Puryear and Harmony Hammond and Nicole Schaefer, and like this was like me thinking about that in life, and like launching a kid out into the world. This is very much about being a parent, but I think I'm interested now in, like, I'm not one of those artists that is going to make the same type of thing over and over again, although I have made some stacked luggage pieces. But to keep my practice expansive and growing is really important to me as I grow older, and I wouldn't say slow down, but I'm looking at other things that are a little bit more meaningful in life. I think I need to drop a joke. I don't know. I don't have a joke.